And that is the music of Gunnar Spardell on WMSE from the CD Simplicity in a Complex World, in a track called The Protecting Veil. And that CD came out in 2019, just last year. It's very hot off the press. And we're going to hear more from that tonight. Right now, my guest tonight for a 3-hour tour, very special Instrumental Saturdays 3-hour tour, is award-winning musician-composer Gunnar Spardell, also known as Tigerforest. And hopefully I have him here. Gunnar, are you there? Oh, wait. There you are. Are you here?
Yeah, hello.
Hi, Gunnar. How are you?
Good. Are we live?
We are live. We are live
Awesome.
on WMSE. I'm so happy to be able to talk to you tonight. It's amazing.
Oh, thank you so much for the invitation, and I'm so happy to talk to you. It's been too long.
Yes,
so.
It has.
Mm-hmm.
The last time we did an interview was several years ago, and you were here in the studio with your lovely wife Amethyst, and we had a chance to see a little bit of Milwaukee and spend some time together, and it was really just super wonderful. So I'm sad that we have to do this by phone, but I'm happy, that we do get to talk.
Yeah, and I miss Milwaukee. I still dream of the time when we met you and you showed us your beautiful town, and I hope soon that we can actually come back and maybe perform live, and you can show us more of your awesome city.
Yeah, that is what we're hoping for. So perhaps in fall, when this is all over with, we can bring you back into Milwaukee, because you have just been so busy. My gosh, the music that you're putting out is incredible, and to have 2 CDs out back to back. And they're just really superb. Last year you put out the very first CD under your own name, because if you want to tell us a little bit about your history and how you became Tigerforest, because up until this point you have recorded under the name Tigerforest. But now that has changed a little bit. So how did you become Tigerforest?
Well, Tigerforest, it was my project, or maybe it was like in the early or mid-90s when I started to experiment with synthesizers and beats, and that was always my project name, to just try stuff and play it to people, and then I got really nice feedback from them, and I started to get more confident in that project. And that name kind of sticked. I always liked to combine, laid back grooves and more synthetic sounds. And but I think it was also in the early 90s when I started to investigate electronic music in Germany, and it was a huge influence for me. And I still stick to this name Tigerforest, but a couple of years ago I wanted to have a new challenge and started my solo project, which we will probably talk about later on. So
yes, we will definitely, and we're going to play some songs from it. Now, you grew up in Hamburg, Germany, and of course, Germany is the home of some of the most iconic electronic music artists in the world. And you grew up being fans of Tangerine Dream and others.
That's right. Yeah. So I have to say I always like music that has like a dreamy sentiment. And luckily, when I started to investigate music in the early 90s, there was a lot of stuff around that has this dreamy sound. And whether it's melancholic dream pop or even the early rave scene in Berlin, for example, all these different sounds had one thing in common. It was music that was supposed to take you to a different place. So it's also an element that I always hope my music is carrying. And like you said, Tangerine Dream was a huge influence. And when I started to discover them, and also other classical electronic composers. It taught me a lot about the possibilities of synthesizers and sequencing, and especially Tangerine Dream member Christopher Franke is a huge influence for me. It's probably my all-time hero. So in my opinion, he was always the creative force behind the band, especially in the late 70s and up to the mid-80s. And also his solo record, Pacific Coast Highway, is probably my all-time favorite record. It's just so honest and beautiful music, and it also has this particular feeling of travel that I love, and I try to achieve with my own music. And through Christopher Franke, I also fell in love with those lush pad sounds, and I've been trying to imitate them sometimes, and that's probably the main trademark of the Tigerforest sound, those pad sounds, and thanks to Christopher Franke, I've been using them ever since. So he's a huge influence for me. So.
Now, are you classically trained musician, or is I forgot what your actual training was as you grow up?
I went to a couple of music schools in Germany where when I was really young, I started to learn the flute. I think that was when I was 6 or 7 years old. And then I switched to trombone when I was, I think, 10 years old. But that was all part of our local community church. So we always played church songs, and after a while, it really went on my nerves, and I got bored with it. So I wanted to learn something completely different. So I started to learn keyboard. But I went to my big music store in Hamburg, Germany, because I had to get another mouthpiece for my trombone. And when I went to that music store, the whole walls were covered in synthesizers and keyboards and drum computers and all that cool stuff. And one of the salesmen, he introduced me into synthesizers and what they could do. So I was immediately blown away, and I wanted to learn more about it. So I started to take those keyboard lessons, but also after school, I went to that music store in Hamburg where the sales guy, he also taught me about Cubase, which is a music program. So he taught me about how to record your own music and how sequencers work and all that good stuff. So a long time ago. Yeah. And I think the keyboard lessons I took for maybe 3 or 4 years because I also got bored by playing other people's songs. I wanted to start writing my own songs. I was much more interested into that and putting my emotions into music. So that's basically how I started. And then I saved money and bought my own synthesizers. I did some jobs like in a grocery store, saved money, and kept building up my studio until I had like a nice little setup where I could really put my thoughts and emotions into music and play it to other people so they could give me some advice and what I could change or how could I improve my sound.
Were there people in Hamburg, that, like you say, that you ran, music by to help you improve it? Who were those people? Were they other fellow musicians or?
There were some little electronic labels in Hamburg and also in Frankfurt, and they were mainly putting out classical electronic music in the style of Tangerine Dream, the Berlin School stuff where they were imitating those long sequencer sounds and stuff. So I sent my music to them and they gave me some pinpoints on how to improve my sound. So they were really, really helpful, I have to say.
Did you sort of always know you were going to become a musician?
I always wanted to. I always dreamt of becoming a musician, and I always had that vision. And I don't know, it was always a driving force for me to keep on going. So I don't know, something deep inside of me always told me, hey, music is your thing. So, and because I don't really like to talk. About my emotions. I like to present my emotions through music. That's much more easier for me. So, yeah.
Well, thank God, because your music's so gorgeous that.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. So, I'm glad that you're not good at expressing your emotions through words, because it's you're really bringing just some gorgeous music to the world. And since we have so much to go through tonight, music-wise, I think I do want to get started right off the bat, and we'll bring in other questions as we go for people who don't know that much about you.
Okay.
But the album that we're going to feature tonight is your latest Tigerforest album, and it's called Discovery. But we also, because we didn't get a chance to interview for Simplicity in a Complex World when that came out.
Right.
And I just so really adore that album. It's just so incredible. And for it to be your album with your name on it is so, it's, to me, it's really thrilling because it is just so beautiful. So as much as I love Tigerforest, I really like what you're doing. So same thing, but
Thank you so much.
it's a little different. The first track on, and I have to say, like Discovery is, it is just an amazing, it feels like, like a complete travel trip. It's, there's, is that kind of like what you were going for?
I think, I remember in one of your shows in January, I think you said it best when you said it's the quintessential Tigerforest album. And I think you were absolutely right when you said that, because my main inspiration for traveling and seeing faraway places and different cultures was really brought to its peak in this record. So every track on this record really tells a little story, and the whole album is about being a wanderer, like trying to figure new things out, starting the day in one place and maybe finishing it in another. So maybe discovering new stuff, getting new insights on stuff. So, and I have to say, it's also 15 years now that Tigerforest exists. So I try to also condense the sound into this record, Discovery. So,
well, it's clear, you are the master of your instruments. I mean, you've really learned, I think, everything that they can do. And have brought them out here. And also one of I have to say this too, that how I feel is that, one of the signs of a incredible composer, a talented composer like you, are the musicians that work with you. You have sought out some of the best musicians, and they really shine on this album. And one musician that I just adore is Justin Lepard, the cello player. Oh my God, it's incredible. When we get to the cello stuff, it's just really, the two of you seem to really have an incredible working situation. But on the opening track, what's really beautiful is the acoustic guitar, and that's, you've used guitar before in your work, but the acoustic guitar really is just a really nice touch here. And one of the things that I was so thrilled about is right in the very beginning, Gunnar. When the voice patch comes in, it's a male voice patch, and I really like that.
I love those patch.
Yeah. So I mean, it's brief. It's really brief, but it's nice. It's more of just a male patch. But so this song, Journeys, is so you've got in the background, there's it sounds like train announcements and bird tweets. And and one of the things that I love, to me, I think is one of your signatures, but I know it might not be, but it's that bass drop boom that comes in at like 2:16, and that's when, to me, it's like that's when the train takes off. And the
exactly.
the song kicks in. And tell me, the birds that kind of show up throughout this album, is that a field recording that you made, or is that just a stock field recording?
Oh no, I have a little Zoom recorder where I can record stuff outside. So
I love it. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That's great, because I love that. And they come in and out throughout this album, and I really just love it when they do, because it's very sweet. So to me, when it ends, the song kind of ends, and it feels like the train took you to a seashore. Is that?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Okay.
So really about, I wanted to create a piece that pulls you out of your everyday life. So that takes you on a journey, doesn't matter where. So, and we all know what it's like to be living in one place where we are wishing to be somewhere else. So it's like an imaginary travel song. So,
yeah. It's, you captured it beautifully. Just the feeling is amazing. So we're going to take a listen to that. This is the opening track on Gunnar Spardell's Tigerforest CD Discovery on WMSE. Well, that is... Okay. I think Gunnar, are you with me?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. I'm
So,
here.
sorry, this is live radio. Can you, John? Oh. Well, I'm not sure if we're on the air. Are you actually listening live on MSE, Gunnar?
I am, yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay.
It sounds good.
All right, good. Okay, because I wasn't getting
All
anything in the studio here, so I thought it hadn't been actually tossed over. So
No, we're good.
Yay! Okay, I'm back. Sorry about
Awesome.
that. But
Don't worry about it.
yeah. So yeah, it is what it is. So that was Journeys, the opening track on Tigerforest CD Discovery. Yeah. And it's such a beautiful track. I mean, I just love the imagery that it suggests, the journey, the seashore, the birds, and the sounds that you use. I hear a little bit of a marimba patch in there, and
very good.
Yeah. And tell me how you found Jack High, the guitar player.
Yeah, first of all, he's a genius, this guy.
Yeah.
So I found him through the BBC in the UK, actually. They played some of his stuff on the radio, and I was hooked immediately, so I had to write this guy. His fingerstyle playing is just extraordinary, and you should visit his YouTube channel. He has like a lot of videos where you can see him play, and his music is just incredible. You will be amazed for sure. So.
Yeah, I have seen him play, and I wonder because there's the college here in Milwaukee, the University of Wisconsin Milwaukee, has a master's degree program in fingerstyle guitar playing, and I wonder if he actually might have been there.
Maybe.
Yeah.
You should play some of his music. I mean, he's a super nice guy, and he also has some ambient guitar tracks on YouTube, so might be perfect for your show too.
Yeah, I will definitely look into it because his playing is so crystal clear. It's beautiful.
Oh yeah.
So how did you contact him?
Just by email, and one day later, he sent me an email back. He listened to my music, and he said it would be the perfect fit. So I had to write him a little bit of the melody, and he improvised the rest of it. So just I think the first few bars that you hear in the guitar line, this is done by me. So I wrote him like on a keyboard. I had a sampled guitar, and he imitated that guitar sound, and he added like so much more to that, and the rest is just him coming up with his own ideas. So
yeah,
amazing.
It is beautiful. And how did you actually have the song completed and then had him play to it, or was the song kind of built together?
Let me remember. I think the song was already done. The melody was maybe done halfway, so he finished the whole melody line. So. Yeah, he was a great help. So
yeah, and most of this is done just by exchanging files, correct?
Yeah, he has also. I think he also has Cubase, the music composing software, and it's very easy for him to record like his stuff. He sends it back. I can import the stuff into my Cubase, and then we're good to go. So it's very easy. Yeah, thanks to technology, of course.
Yeah. So, because he appears a couple more times on the CD, and it's just really, it's very, very refreshing to hear the acoustic guitar against the your really wonderful lush electronics.
I mean, at first I just wanted to try out how it sounds. I wasn't 100% sure what may come out of it, but I'm like super happy with the results. So I hope I can work with him on many more future projects.
Yeah. The next song, the title track of this album, and this is your 7th studio album for Tigerforest.
Yes. Correct.
I like how sort of on the opening track it it feels like early morning and you're getting on a train and you take the train and you get off at the seashore, and then Discovery sort of opens right there at the seashore.
Yeah.
And so there's more water sounds,
Yeah, and it's like the journey continues on this piece, and it's just you're finally at your destination and you're discovering that you're somewhere else and you're discovering inner peace because of the journey you're on. So I think that a change of scenery sometimes, for me at least, brings out my alter ego. So suddenly when you're not only a new person, you feel more in tune with who you really are. So that's the main idea behind Discovery, the second song on the record.
It's funny because in my notes I have written "The journey continues." ...
Oh yeah, that's perfect.
So and the bass in this is really really nice, and there's just the real deep bass throughout, and you have a little at 42 seconds in. There's a little reverse little sound, whatever that is, but it's a really cute little cricket. Sort of sound.
Yeah, I like to put like some nature sounds in there because nature is always a huge influence for me. So.
Yeah. And is there a little bit of panpipes in this?
They're all sampled pan flutes. So it always has this tropical feel for me, and it always creates this travel feel if I hear a pan flute. So I had to put some into that song.
Yeah, and it just really just fabulous energy in this piece. Just it's a real moving. So let's take a listen. So hopefully I won't lose you on this or anything like that, and we'll be able to come back. All right. So this is the title track of Tigerforest CD, Discovery, on WMSE. All right, that's the music of Gunnar Spardell on WMSE as Tigerforest from the CD Discovery, and that was the title track, Discovery. And I think perhaps I've made all the mistakes that I need to make for tonight, and and I think I might have it under control. So sorry I left your mic up during that song. So Gunnar, you are calling me from New Hampshire, which is your home base. Right. Your home base now. How long have you been here, and how did you land in New Hampshire?
I've been in New Hampshire since 2006. So my wife is from the United States, and she is also an amazing singer. Mm-hmm. And back in, I think, in 2005, we met through a music network called, MySpace. So she had a MySpace artist profile. I had a MySpace artist profile, and she wrote me an email saying that she really likes my music. And then I checked out her artist profile, and I was really amazed by the beautiful angelic vocals. And we started to collaborate on a few songs. Mm-hmm. And then we decided to meet in New York City a couple of months later, and the rest is history.
Yeah.
So I've been here ever since.
That is so wonderful, and also one of the sweetest things is you named your record label after the terminal where the two of you first met at Terminal 4. Terminal
4 at JFK Airport in New York City.
Yeah, that is such a beautiful story. I love it. So
yeah, it's fun.
Yeah. Now, and actually, Amethyst appears on the next song that we're going to play. But I want to stick with Discovery for a second here. And you had Jack on guitar and Martin Kutcha on electric guitar on this.
That's right.
And and then the vocals were done by
Shlomit Levi. Yeah, I think she's from Israel originally, but she's living in New York City, and I found her through a music network in New York City. So where on that network musicians can collaborate on stuff, and I found her profile, and we started to work on a few things. So there is something else in the works too. So
yeah, and she's from a band called Orphaned Land.
That's right. Yeah. She also performs in New York City, but not right now, of course, thanks to that damn virus.
Right. No kidding. And a question about, because you work with a couple different vocalists, and a question about that is, do the vocalists, do you add them after the fact, after the song is completed, or do they add their vocals as you're creating the song?
Most of the time, I finish the instrumental first, and then I send it to the singer. And in that case, Shlomit, she improvised on that piece. Usually, I write the vocal line with my synthesizer, and the vocalist would follow the guideline, but she completely improvised everything on that piece.
Oh wow! So, it's beautiful. Yeah. It really works beautifully. So
yeah, she's awesome.
Yeah. When you are sitting down to create a CD now, I mean, in 2019, and I think I read somewhere that because it's Simplicity in a Complex World came out in 2019, but you actually had been working on that for several years, correct?
Oh yeah, for I think I started in 2013, beginning of 2014, in that winter. Yeah. So that album took a lot of time to create because it's so different. I mean, I'm so used to write this kind of music under Tigerforest. So writing this other album was a real challenge. So
yeah,
but I like challenges.
Yeah, well, you handled it quite well because it's gorgeous, and I can't wait to get to it too. But how long had you been working on Discovery? While you were also doing Complex World.
I think about a year. Yeah. These albums, they go quicker, I have to say, because I'm so used to it. I've been doing that for a while, so I know the ingredients that I work with, and also I think maybe the sound might still be the same, but I evolved as a person. So I have to say now I know how to write in my head. I don't know if that makes sense, but before I usually always sat down and improvised on my keyboard or the piano, and now I really know how to write in my head and think music, if that makes any sense.
Sure.
So yeah, it goes much quicker now. So and now these days I always have a clear vision of or an idea of what I want to write about, and it goes much quicker than before. So
and are you
it's all a learning experience?
Sure. Are you influenced by, and you do travel a lot? Are you influenced by the places you go to?
Oh yeah, totally. Like on the next song that that you will play, Caro Kera, that means island of beautiful waters. It's like a French Caribbean term, and I know just when you visit those places, I always feel like a big. I don't know how to explain it. It's hard to explain. You feel like the longing to put these landscapes into music because it's so beautiful and inspiring. So it's always fun to do for me.
Yeah. So have you ever been in, been on a trip and then suddenly something inspires you and you in your head?
Oh yeah, most of the time.
Yeah.
I sometimes, since we said before, I always have, most of the time I have my Zoom field recorder with me, and sometimes I catch myself singing into that Zoom recorder so I don't forget the idea that I had. So.
Oh, very good. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Karu Kara, and I'm not sure if I said that right, but you were working on this album or on this song with, of course, Amethyst and but also Escadet.
Yes.
And tell me a little bit of how you two met.
Well, I've been friends with Escadet for, I think, also for more than 10 years or so, for a very long time. And I met him through a German chill-out DJ who recommended or told me to check out Escadet's music and maybe eventually work on something together. So I wrote to Stefan, and he checked out my music, and he said, yeah, we have to do something together. So we have a little project together called Atlantic. It was released, I think, in 2017. We only have one song so far, so we're trying to make more songs together under this project. But we also worked, I think, in 2014 on The Tides of Day and Night. We had a song called Geometry of Shadows.
Oh, yeah.
We made this song together, and it's always a lot of fun to work with him because he's very, very nice to work with, and he's an awesome guy. So.
Yeah.
And a very good friend, too.
Excellent. Now, Amethyst, she does have a beautiful voice, and
yes,
you can tell. She also, in listening to her voice in this song, and because I know that she plays the theremin, you can tell that she plays the theremin because the way she can hold and bend a note is so beautiful. And it's so and I'm sure for her it's probably just a natural talent, but I wonder if that's something also she learned from playing the theremin, because that's how you bend the notes. And but it's beautiful example in this song. It's really well done. I really like it. And there's more water gurgling in this song.
Yes, because it's about like the Caribbean islands and the beautiful water and snorkeling and all that good stuff. So you'll hear again a lot of nature sounds in there.
Okay. All right. All right. Well, so let's take a listen. This is a third song on Discovery, and it is titled Karu Kera on WMSE. The music of Tigerforest on WMSE from the CD Discovery, and a track called Caro Cara. Gunnar Spardell is my guest on the phone. We're broadcasting live here at WMSE Studios in downtown Milwaukee, and Gunnar is my guest on the phone. And it's really just wonderful to have you here and to be able to talk about this music and share it with the listeners.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me. Yeah.
You're welcome. And, you have a lot of fans in Milwaukee. So it's
nice.
just so much fun to share this. When you're working with a colleague like Stefan Klepper, how do you begin a song?
In this case, in Caro Cara, I started with the beat and the bass and a little bit of the chord progression, and then he added more to it. He added like the harmonies and some of the sequencer sounds that you hear in the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
And usually, like on the tracks that I did with him before, he started the beats and the grooves, and in this case, I took care of that. So it was interesting for me to do it the opposite way, and not like we usually work together. So it was fun.
Yeah. So do you both sort of have final say on the song, or do you just have the final say?
No, we both always have discussions on like when should we stop or when should we keep going. So sometimes we play the song to our spouses, and we see how they react to it. So it's you have to know when to stop with a song. And there's always the danger of adding too many sounds and too many layers, so it gets like too overblown. So, it's always a fine line. Yeah,
and that is the thing too. Your compositions are very lush, and there are several layers to each track, which is it's really wonderful because you can practically swim in your songs, And do you have a hard time sort of weeding it down to 'cause what's the highest number of tracks you've had on one song? I know it's kind of tremendous.
I mean, the Tigerforest stuff, in every song there are a lot of layers. So I think Discovery had over 100 layers of sound. Yeah. So, and you always have to fine tune everything so you can still hear all the layers. So it's a lot of work mixing those tracks. Compared to my solo stuff, there are way less layers.
Right. Mm-hmm. Do you ever, while you're mixing down your stuff, do you ever need to actually take a break away from it because your ears get exhausted?
Yes. Sometimes I have to step away for a day or two and then get back to the mixing session, and then I can see what is missing. So it's a lot of work. Sometimes I just have to take a lot of time away from the mixing sessions to give my ears a rest. So,
Yeah. Okay. So now the next track on the CD is the first vocal track that actually has lyrics, and you're working with Allie Frank here, and she wrote all the lyrics to the song, correct? Or did you?
Correct. Yeah.
Okay.
No, I only gave her the main theme of the song, and she wrote the lyrics and the vocal line, and it was a fantastic collaboration. So.
Yeah. Now, how did you meet Allie and ask her to work with you?
Also through a music network. I think it was called soundbetter.com or something. Like some people, they can provide services. Like if you're working on a song and for example, you need a singer, then you can go to that website and you can check out the profiles of these singers, and they have some of their songs for you to listen to. And that was really, I really liked her voice and her songwriting skills. So I wrote her, and we started to collaborate.
Wow. So how long did it take to put this song together? Because it seems like it's such a perfect fit.
I think that took, the longest because she really wanted to write something special in the lyrics and come up with a really nice vocal line that fit the instrumental. So I think it took maybe 2 or 3 months.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, something like that. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And the bass drum in this this song, because none of the drums except for on one, well, there's a percussion on one track that's live percussion, but otherwise this is all electronic, correct?
That's right. Yeah, correct. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, it's great, and this song would be awesome live with a live drummer. It would be great.
Oh yeah.
Actually, all your songs would be awesome live.
Yeah.
So let's. And where does Ali Frank come from?
Also from New York City.
Okay, great.
Mm-hmm.
Have you do you work in person at all, or was all this also done with just sound files?
This is all done through song files and Skype sessions and all that stuff. So,
Awesome. Okay, well, let's take a listen. This is the 4th track on Discovery by Tigerforest, also known as Gunnar Spardell, and a track called Away on WMSE. That's the music of Tigerforest on WMSC from the CD Discovery and a track called Far Away. And I love how that track ends. It kind of just drops off. It must be a thrill for any vocalist to work with you, to have music as dynamic as yours supporting their vocals. What was Allie's thoughts on the final product?
She was excited. So I'm also always very flattered when those vocalists decide to work with me, because sometimes I feel maybe this music is a little bit too out there. I don't know, sounding too different for their usual ears. So I'm always very flattered when they agree to work with me. So it's always very nice.
Yeah. Well, this worked out really nice. It's a beautiful song.
Yeah. She's a really great songwriter. So
yeah. Because now I don't normally play obviously vocals on my Instrumental Saturdays show, but is this a song that you could shop around to even commercial radio perhaps? I think my label is doing a good job in overseas, so some bigger radio stations are playing this stuff too. So the vocal songs, and your label technically is the label technically Terminal 4 Records, or is it Lemongrass Music?
No, the Tigerforest stuff is released on Lemongrass Music, and they are distributing throughout Europe, so they're doing a good job there.
Okay.
They're just not really focusing on the U.S. market, so I try to help them out here and do what I can to get the music out in the United States.
Excellent. Now you actually just got back from doing a couple dates in Europe.
Yes.
Was it in December that you were there? Or?
No, it was. It feels a long time ago, but it was actually 2 months ago in February. I was playing in Germany, and it's kind of depressing now because I'm starting to get out of my shell, out of my studio shell, and try to perform more often. So I had a lot of gigs lined up throughout the summer, but they've all been canceled thanks to the coronavirus. So, and I also just got the notice that I had a gig in September in Germany, and that already got canceled too.
Oh, no.
But I'm free in September. I could go to Milwaukee, and we could maybe make something happen in Milwaukee.
Well, that would be fabulous. So we're going to have to try to work on that. Hopefully,
I keep my fingers crossed.
Yes. Because we have to also remember that there is, possibly a second wave that will come through of the coronavirus. So we'll have to keep that in mind. But
I try to stay positive. So
absolutely, and your is Discovery? Did that just win best new artist? Didn't you get best new artist award?
That was for my solo record. So in Germany they have an award show called Schallwelle, which means sound wave in English, and they've been celebrating electronic music for the last, I think, also 20 years or so. Every year they have a award show where they give out awards, a little bit like the ZMR awards, but they're mainly focusing on electronic music. So they always have also some bigger names stopping by, like Tangerine Dream or Ulrich Schnauz, and they play there as well. And it's also a nice place to talk to like-minded people and hang out, make new friends and stuff. So it's a really nice show. Very nice event. And
you did just win an award there.
Yes, I think I won. This is my third award now, I think. So this year I won for my solo record, which was very touching because it was something that I've never done before, like this kind of music. So it was a nice, how do you say, like a tap on the shoulder or understatement.
Sure. Well, and because it is so gorgeous, this simplicity in a complex world, and I think maybe this might be the right time to bring it in, and we'll come back to Discovery, but there's just some incredible tracks on here. The whole CD it's just one of those CDs that from start to finish, it just captures your attention. It's hard to not listen to this CD completely through. I just absolutely love it. So we're gonna play. We'll start just with the first track then. And and I remember when I got this, you sent this in the mail to me, and I think I got it. Didn't I get it like on a Saturday morning? And
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, and I put it in and started listening to it right away, and I think I emailed you. I said, "Please, can I feature this album tonight?" And and I don't know if it had been released, officially or not. But I just fell in love with it immediately.
And you were the first radio show that played this record. So worldwide, there was the premiere. So
well, excellent, because it's so thrilling. So now on this album, you sort of stripped down the electronics a little bit, and go ahead.
I mean, I was always curious about music that sounded unique and something that I could remember. And when something would sound like nothing else, I was hooked immediately. So it didn't matter if it was classical, jazz, or pop music. Basically, these genres always suggested that it sounds like something else. But to me, it sounded like there is no genre, just music. So I was always looking out for stuff like that when I grew up. So then I remember one time when I attended music school back in the 90s, the teacher was talking about a composer called Arvo Pärt. I don't know if you know him.
Yes.
He's like a neoclassical composer, and the teacher suggested to listen to his works. So after I checked out Arvo Pärt, I thought the teacher wanted to make a fool out of myself, because I thought this was the strangest music that's out there. There's just, one bass note and a few other strings on top of that bass note, and they're playing the same patterns over and over for 12 minutes. So, I mean, I always enjoyed deep and heavy sounding romantic composers like Brahms or Schubert, but this stuff was crazy to my ears, But I think I was maybe 17 or 18 years old at that time. And I think it took me another 10 more years to finally understand this kind of music. I think it was after I attended Berklee College of Music for a semester or so. And they were also talking about composers like Arvo Pärt or John Tavener. So I gave it another listen, and then for some reason, something inside of me happened. I don't know how to describe it, but I listened closer and closer, and I also listened to what my teacher pointed out to me. So in order to achieve like a certain warmth or feeling in a piece of music, you don't have to have a huge arrangement. Just focus on what is important. And in that case, it was the emotional effect. Like a piece of music has to create something deep inside of you. So I took this to heart, and back in 2014, after I released the last Tigerforest record, The Tides of Day and Night, I just wanted to challenge myself musically and try something different. So I wanted to use that emotional effect from Arvo Pärt and write very stripped down music that lies somewhere in between ambient, electronica, and even neoclassical music. So when I wrote that record, I constantly tried to remind myself to think more focused and mature and not so playful like in the Tigerforest project.
Sure.
So that this Arvo Pärt effect taught me to leave out the unnecessary stuff and really focus on what's important. And unlike the Tigerforest project where the main inspiration is escapism and travel and all that stuff, the music that I try to do under my own name is more inspired by the human way of life. So since our world is always evolving and it's really hard to keep track, at least for me, so I was trying to find a balance in between the simple and the complex, I guess. So, and I tried to create like a refuge for myself throughout the music, and yeah, it was so much fun to create something different. So, yeah, I was looking back. It was a really, really interesting time when I wrote that stuff.
Yeah.
And now that I have much more time in the studio now, thanks to the coronavirus, I'm trying to get back into that world of my solo stuff and create more music like this, because
good.
Even though it's much more challenging, it's a lot of fun. So
yeah. And
yeah.
I imagine it is more challenging because there's more space between things.
Exactly. Yeah.
You know.
Exactly.
And now, actually, I think because I was, reading a little bit about this, was "Watching Stars Collide" the first song you wrote for the album?
Yeah, that was the first song, and
maybe we should play that first.
Okay, so a little story about that song. I remember back in 2014, I was a little depressed, I guess. I always had this perspective that I was, how can I say it, like either hoping for a better tomorrow or looking back and feeling sad about the past, but I never really managed to live in the present. So the song "Watching Stars Collide" is about loneliness and the feeling of waiting for something to happen in your life, but deep inside, that's never going to happen. So, but now over the past couple of years, I finally reached that level where I can finally enjoy, like the here and now. So, and looking back, it's probably my biggest regret that I didn't really come to that conclusion much earlier, because I could have been a lot happier. So, yeah, that's the basic story of that track. So.
It's really beautiful. To me, it's probably my favorite on the record.
Yeah. It's very personal to me too. So.
Yeah. And I like the prepared piano. And that's new to you as well, because I don't think you used it in your other stuff. And the beginning of it, it almost sounds like the way it's played, almost like a wind-up toy. And and then your strings float in underneath the piano, and it's really so. Let's take a listen to this. This is I'm so excited to play it. "Watching Stars Collide." This is the music of Tigerforest on WMS. Or actually, this is the music of Gunnar Spardell from "Simplicity in a Complex World," his first CD under his own name. That's the music of Gunnar Spardell on WMSE from the CD Simplicity in a Complex World, and a track called Watching Stars Collide. And Gunnar, I am so happy that you made this album. I can't begin to tell you.
Thank you.
Yeah, you know that I'm a huge Olafur Arnalds fan, and Ludovico Einaudi and Johan Johansson.
Yes.
And I think that you have captured all of their worlds in this album, and it's just really it's just you should be so proud of this album. And I think that as much as I like Discovery, and it's a great, a travelogue, and it's great. I think Simplicity in a Complex World should be on everybody's playlist for this coronavirus containment. I could listen to this all day long and never get tired of it. It's just exceptional.
Nice. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Yeah, it's amazing. So when you were putting out, there are some wonderful players on this album, and one of which is Justin Lepard, cellist, and he appears on Discovery, and it just absolutely incredible. But he's also on this Simplicity in a Complex World, and you have to tell me how did you, because it seems as though you guys have a special connection, because I think he really feels your music, and I hope that's true, and I hope I'm just not reading into it and that like you barely talk to him or something. So
he's a cellist in I think actually in Hans Zimmer's orchestra. He's living in Los Angeles, so he's a session player for a lot of composers in Hollywood. So I was really happy that he had time to play on my little record. So, and he's really fun to talk to, and he's a really awesome guy too. So yeah, he connected right away to the music, probably because he was playing with all those big name composers before. So.
Yeah. Well, so did you first, is Simplicity in a Complex World the first time you used him?
Yeah, that's the first time.
Okay. So then, and his stuff is just gorgeous on here. So then when you moved into Discovery in Tigerforest and asked him to come along on some of the songs, was that a kind of a surprise for him to hear? Because, I imagine he knew you well through Simplicity.
Yeah, he was a little surprised when I sent him the more upbeat stuff, but he connected right away as well, because he's such a pro. It didn't bother him that it was a little bit more upbeat. He actually liked it very much too. Yeah.
So let's hear one of the first examples of his playing, and that would be the first track on Simplicity in a Complex World, In Between. And his cello in here is just like a deep growl. It's amazing, and this song has a just a beautiful melody, and I like how the piano with the really perfect reverb. It just in the beginning, it's so simple and spaced and cautious, and there's like a little bit of sparkly harp sound, and it just towards the end of the song, it just becomes grand. It just becomes this beautiful grand song, and then the growling cello just kind of takes it out. It's great.
That's right. Yeah, it's like that was kind of like telling the story that I'm trying to walk a different path, very cautiously, very careful, and see where this new path is going to take me. So that's the basic story of this track.
Awesome. It's beautiful. All right. So, yeah, this is the first track that I heard from this album, that being the opening track, and I was just completely sold. So,
Great.
this is the music of Gunnar Spardell on WMSE and a track called In Between. That's the music of Gunnar Spardell on WMSE from his first self-titled album, first album under his own name, Simplicity in a Complex World, and the opening track, In Between. Gunnar, I think this is like my dream album. It is so great. My guest on the phone is Gunnar Spardell, and we're actually featuring 2 albums tonight, and I want to get as much in as I can because I'm just really excited to share this music with my listeners. And they've heard it, for a long time. You know, I've had this album since the beginning of 2019, and I, I've featured it and used it quite a bit. It's just perfect. It really, it's great.
Thank you for all your great support. All for like the last. I mean, how long do we know each other for? Like at least over 5 years. You've been always such a great support. So thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. Thank you.
Oh yeah, no. I mean, when I first. We worked together at, I think my first introduction to you was through the Zone Music Reporter, and you were one of the performers that I got to push around on stage. And it was like, where have I been that I did not know you? And so I was kind of mad for all the years that I did not know about Tigerforest. But if, MSE is a small radio station and we rely on, labels sending us stuff. And, now I can't believe I know you.
Well, same here. So it's awesome. I'm so happy that we're also talking over the phone now. I wish I could be there in person in the studio, but we have to do that again once everything gets back to normal.
Yeah, definitely. And by the way, how are your animals doing? This must be heaven for them to have you guys both home all the time.
Well, we have a little English bulldog called Maggie, and she is, I think, over 10 years old now. So it's a pretty old age for a bulldog. So she's getting up there. Like yesterday when we took her outside to do her business, she kind of slipped and I think she injured her paw. So I have a hard time seeing animals in pain. So but she's doing okay now. She's still limping a little bit, but
she is really a sweetheart.
Yeah, she is.
And then you have a cat as well, right?
Yeah, he doesn't care about anything. He doesn't know that he's still same old stuff for him. He's the king of the house. So.
Excellent. Well, can we play one more song from? Well,
yeah, of course.
Let's do it. This and I'm jumping around a little bit, but this track I want to play because when I went back to my notes when this first came out, and I like to listen to albums before I know like the name of the songs, and this song, when I went back to my notes, and then realized what the name of the song was, I was like, you had perfectly captured what this was about, and my notes were that there's just really super heavy bass synth wash with wind blowing. It's very ominous sounding, and single prepared piano notes. There's a flugelhorn kind of in the background, very distant feeling, and arpeggiated synthesizer, kind of harpish. But the note that I made that really kind of blew me away when I found out what the name of the song was. I had said that the song ends. It rumbles out like a blowtorch extinguishing. And
right, you're talking about Sober Rain Fire.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's so well done. And tell me about writing that.
Well, that song that inspiration came from actually a trip we did to California, and A couple of months before that trip, there was a huge wildfire going on. And I think it was the biggest wildfire they had in ever. So that killed most of the wildlife, most of the nature, most of the plants and the flowers and everything. But when we were there, we saw that life started to come back to that area. So we saw the first plants coming back, and the rangers told us that, they're seeing animals coming back. So it's kind of about, getting back to life. I think that's the main inspiration of the song, or rejuvenation.
Uh-huh.
So, in the end of the song, you can hear nature and birds and stuff. That means they're coming back to that area that was completely destroyed before. So there's always hope. There's always hope in something. That was the main inspiration for that track.
Yeah. All of these songs, to me, as a whole, listening to this album, they're so it's a slow, beautiful journey, and they're so gentle. A lot of these songs sound like little prayers. Soberain's Fire is really just super beautiful. So let's take a listen to that. This is Gunnar Spardell on WMSE from Simplicity in a Complex World. That's the music of Gunnar Spardell on WMSE from the CD Simplicity in a Complex World, and the beautiful track So Brains Fire. And it's very uplifting. You can feel the plants coming back and all of that. It's just it's great.
That's right.
Now, and
I
actually,
have to give a little shout out. I have to give a shout out to the trumpet player. Trumpet player. He's amazing.
Right. I was going to correct myself because I called it flugelhorn, but it's actually trumpet. Matt Gila.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's a trumpet player. We saw him play in a subway station in New York City one time, and he had like little ID cards where you can check out more of his music. So I took one and I sent him an email, and we decided to start working on this track because the instrumental was already done, but I felt that something was missing. So I sent him the track, and he completely improvised the trumpet line on that piece. So
wow,
he's awesome.
It's beautiful. Yeah, I really like that a lot. That's beautiful. Yeah, see, that's the thing. You have such an amazing ear that you're able to hear a trumpet player in the subway in New York City and go, hey, I think he would be a good addition to my music. And that, to me, I mean, that's huge for your ears to be able to do that. And you're right all the time.
Yeah.
It's,
Yeah, I mean, I like stuff that happens right on the spot when I hear something in my head, and then for some reason I had Matt Giella in mind. I still had his ID card on my desk, and I wrote him an email, sent him the song, and told him that I saw him perform in the subway station. So, yeah, it was so much fun.
That's great. I love it.
Yeah.
So let's see. Well, should we? There's much more from this album that I want to play, but should we go back to our feature album? And we were on Amankila, Beautiful Hill.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
It's also a luxury hotel.
Yeah, it's that song. The title means peaceful hill. I think it's Indonesian actually. And back when I grew up, I was always into music, and I used music to escape my everyday life. So quite naturally, I was always attracted to sounds that have like this psychedelic or almost meditative quality. And I then checked out bands that were connected to the so-called chill-out tag. And in those days, they had the most dreamy and escapist sound, like bands like Boards of Canada or Aphex Twin and all that stuff. So they really inspired me to write this track. And also, of course, I used some more natural sounds and sampled Asian guitars, I think. So, yeah, it's a very relaxing track.
Yeah, and nice little chime bells, singular chime bells. And to me, and I know we probably should have played these back to back, but I jumped in the middle of that. So, but there is a singular piano line in this song, Amankila, that actually, to me, it kind of harks back to Away. And I don't know if that, if that was planned or not, but to me, it just gives me the reminiscence of Away, that track. But I love the birds chirping and all of that, and it's got a real beachy end to it.
Yeah.
So
somewhere in the far away somewhere.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And there's voices and like it just kind of begins a little ominously. It's with the voices and a little bit of the percussion. It sounds a little bit scary. So, but now on This Is True, this song actually has true flugelhorn, and that's Jasu Garcia.
Yeah, he's a flugelhorn player from Spain. Yeah, and I also found him through, I think, SoundCloud, which is another music page where artists can upload their stuff and people can check it out. So one day I was looking for a flugelhorn player, and Josue, he popped in my search, and I checked out his music, and we connected right away, and it was a lot of fun working with him too. So there's another track on the record with him that we might come to later.
Yeah. Okay, so let's take a listen to this. This is a track called Amankila on WMSE. That's the music of Tigerforest on WMSE from the CD Discovery and a track called Amankila. And my guest on the phone is Gunnar Spardell, who is Tigerforest. And it is 8 o'clock. You're listening to 91.7
Hello.
Hi, Gunnar. It's 8 o'clock and you're listening to 91.7.
Hello.
Can you hear me? Gunnar.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, can you hear me too?
Yep. Okay.
Something dropped right now. But
Okay. Oh, okay.
It works. Yeah.
Okay. So it's 8 o'clock and you're listening to 91.7 WMSE Milwaukee, the voice of the Milwaukee School of Engineering, listener-supported radio. I'm Mary Bartlein, and this is Instrumental Saturdays. And we are now under the gun, Gunnar, because we have an hour to go and so much music to play.
Yeah. Time goes by so quick in those interviews. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Not enough time.
No, exactly. So, so we might have to miss a couple of the songs, but the next track that I do want to play, because it's just really well done, and I wanted to talk to you about it, is the next track on the CD called "Over You," and the vocalist in this is Roberta Carter Harrison. The lyrics of this song were written by her husband, and the two of them make up the group Wild Strawberries. And
That's right.
They're a Canadian band. How did you find her to do a song on your album?
Well, I've known Roberta for many, many years, and we actually wanted to work together back in 2014, but for some reason, we lost touch with each other, and I think a year ago, she wrote me out of the blue through Facebook, and she said, "Hey, I rediscovered your email, and let's collaborate." So I, of course, was super excited because I really enjoy her voice, and the music she makes together with her husband is really, really cool. So, I sent her this instrumental, and the both of them worked on that, and they wrote the lyrics and came up with a vocal line, and it was an amazing collaboration, and the song is really, really cool. It was, a great experience for me to work with those two.
Yeah, it is really beautiful, and it's amazing. A lot of times, for vocal albums, like the lyrics come first, and then the music is fit around the lyrics, but it's kind of in the reverse here.
Yeah, and I didn't really give them any idea of what I had in mind, like lyric-wise. So they wanted to write everything from scratch. So It was great.
Yeah, and this is a very lush music bed as well. So they had a lot to work with here. So let's take a listen. This is a track called "Over You," and this is Tigerforest from the Discovery CD.
Until push comes to shove.
That's the music of Tigerforest on WMSE from the CD Discovery and Over You. That is just a great song, very catchy lyrics, and I found myself humming that song a lot in this time that I was doing my research for this. Yeah, it's very great. When this is one that you should definitely shop around for sure to get airplay. You know, and I think it would be a great song live as well.
Yeah, I would love to play that live. So
yeah,
we will see. Once everything gets back to normal, I hope I can get back into playing live, because I had a lot of fun back in February. So I hope I can get back to that as soon as possible.
Yeah. I like the bit in that song. There was a little bit of acoustic piano, high end, little banging on the keys in the higher register.
Yeah.
The next track is a super this is a super clever track, I think. It just kind of like it's a circular track. It seems to like spin around you. I don't know how you created it. I know it's got the arpeggiating synthesizer lines, and that makes it just swirl around, and it like changes the tempo, but yet the tempo is exactly the same. But it just gives you the impression that it's changing. And I think it's really super clever. And and the introduction of a new player here, Jay Stapley, and then Krista is on vocals, and Jay does the electric guitar, and
that's right.
and it's funny, he worked with Mike Oldfield. And
that's right.
Yeah, and that was one of the first albums I ever bought, was Tubular Bells. So, yeah, so
classic.
Yeah, so it's kind of cool to have him come full circle here. Go ahead and say what you wanted to say about it.
Well, that track was inspired by a road trip through the desert. So imagine that you're driving on a really lonely road in the middle of Death Valley, where there's basically no life around you, and there's like beautiful scenery, but you're the only one on this road driving. And that was the inspiration for this track called Waypoint. So
okay, and it also kind of starts out a little bit scary too. Maybe that's why, because you're in the middle of the desert and it is scary.
That's right. Yes.
That's the music of Tigerforest on WMSE, a track called Waypoint from the Discovery CD. It's the latest CD by Gunnar Spardell, as known as Tigerforest. That is just a great song. I love the energy in that song, and the video should just be just huge, sweeping 360-degree camera turns. It's just, just be awesome landscape with just 360, because it just really spins you around when you.
That's a very good idea.
It's really just the way you did it.
Just 360 videos.
Yeah, would be just be fabulous. Hey, so then another person that you introduced me to via his CD was Der Waldläufer, and which is Tobias Seidenthal.
Yeah,
and
very good.
And he joins you on this next song, Mountains. And I like this song. It starts out, it sounds like kind of like an elevator, like you're taking an elevator up the mountain. But it's a really galloping ride. This is and there's a lot of sort of Tangerine Dream like arpeggiation in this. I can see your appreciation for Tangerine Dream.
Yeah, a little bit. So it's like. Yeah, I mean, Der Waldläufer, that means the woodlander in English, and we both are big outdoor fanatics. We love to hike, and that song is just about taking a hike in the mountains and being surrounded by fresh air and beautiful scenery. And,
and the thundering bass in here also is really well done. So so let's take a quick listen for that, because we're going to have to edit out some of these songs. So
okay.
So I wanted to get this one in because of that, and because I have his CDs and I have played them and I like them. So, okay, this is a track called Mountains on WMSE. It's the music of Tigerforest on WMSE with a song called Mountains from the new CD Discovery. And, you know what? I've been actually, I've been calling, I've been posting these, I don't know if we use Spinatron. And darn it, I've been putting your name in as Gunnar Spardell instead of Tigerforest. I have to go back and edit all that. I just noticed that. Sorry.
No.
So,
no worries.
Yeah. So, Gunnar Spardell is my guest. He is also known as Tigerforest, and we've been featuring the CD Discovery. But he also has a incredibly beautiful CD under his own name called Simplicity in a Complex World. And I'm going to have to make some drastic choices here because we're not going to be able to get all of the songs in that I want to get in. And there is one song that is my all-time favorite of anything that you've done, and I just adore this track so much that I have to play it. I'm jumping around. So can you guess which one it is that I love so much?
Let me get maybe track number 5 or track number 6.
Oh, on Simplicity?
Yes.
Yeah, those I like, but I'm actually talking about the Discovery album. Which one on here?
The Discovery album. Oh, the last one, track 13.
How'd you know?
Because of Justin's beautiful cello.
Yes, and the cello is beautiful, but everything you do on this is just incredible. Just this whole song from start to finish. This is like a masterpiece. It's just really, it's a lullaby over these hard driving synth sounds, and it's super clever. I like how it begins, and then you kick it in with a like a traditional Tangerine Dream kind of chord that it's like a twang that I really like. And then all of a sudden in the middle of it just like short circuits and reverses and it's just great. And in the beginning it might sound like an old LP or like an old record player. Yes.
Like those crickets, but it's actually snow falling on my field recorder. So, yes.
Really?
Yes.
Oh my gosh!
Because so I put some effects on it, and I was surprised. Hey, it sounds like an old record player, like an old LP that's dusty, but it's actually snow falling.
Oh my gosh, that's fabulous! Because I was gonna, I wanted to mention, I love that the way it starts like that. I would never have guessed that was field recording of snowflakes. That is wonderful. So, that's great. That ties it into why it's called winter. That's so. So I have to play this just because I didn't want this to be at the very end and we wouldn't be able to talk about it because it's got a nice the little false ending where it finishes, but then it just kind of goes on, drifts on for a little bit. So this is such a beautiful song. I just adore it.
Oh, thank you.
So we're going to take a listen to it because I want everybody to hear it because I'm probably going to play it a lot on my show.
Yep.
This is Tigerforest in a track called Winter on WMSE. the best song ever. That is Winter by Tigerforest, also known as Gunnar Spardell. That is so brilliant. It is just an exceptional song. I love it.
Oh, thank you so much.
Yeah.
I think it's also my favorite on the record.
Yeah, it's really wonderful. And I have to say, Constellations before that is also really, really beautiful, and that's Justin Lepard as well on cello. And
That's right.
yeah, and just the way you guys work is so wonderful, because he's playing this just beautiful lullaby lines, and then your just incredible keyboard work behind it, and it's like two different things, but they just meld so well together. I really, it's amazing. So, so we have under a half hour to go. Should we play Constellations and then go back to Simplicity in a Complex World?
Let's go back to the other record.
Okay.
If you don't mind.
No, not at all. So just getting my notes here. The day when we began, that we haven't played that one. And that one, especially to me, seems like a little prayer. That's really a super beautiful song. And you've got the prepared piano again. The cello in here, it just seems like it's just breathing like heavy sighs. It's just really, and then a long bass chord underneath, and it's just it's like an airplane.
I also have to give a little shout out to the guy who helped me with the mixing a little bit, and he also mastered this record. I mean, I know we mentioned Olafur Arnalds before, but the engineer, Birger John Birgersson, or he likes to be called Biggie. He is an amazing guy. He runs the music studio from Sigur Rós, and he also mixed and mastered one of the first 3 Olafur Arnalds records, and he helped me a little bit with the mixing and the mastering on this record. So I'd like to give him a big shout out and another huge thank you. He's an awesome guy who helped me out. So,
because it is you can tell. I mean, it is really brilliantly mastered. How did you get in touch with him?
I got to know him through Ulrich Schnaus actually, and Thorsten Quesning. Bigger John Birgersson, he mastered their last 2 records, and I really loved the sound, how they came out. And I got his email address, I think through Thorsten, and I wrote him up, and he was really excited to help me out with this record because he really connected to the music. So that was fun.
Yes, because he totally also can appreciate space between notes. And
and I don't know what he does, but he really adds a lot of magic to the mixes and the mastering. I don't know what he does. It's incredible.
Wow. Okay, so let's take a listen to The Day When We Began. It's just super sweet. Okay, this is Gunnar Spardell on WMSE. It's music of Gunnar Spardell on WMSE from the CD Simplicity in a Complex World, and a track called The Day We Began. And it is for this to be your first album that you put out under your own name, and that must have been a sort of a leap for you as well, a leap of faith as well. But I do love how there are always just little electronic traces of Tigerforest in there as well.
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, I grew up with all that stuff, so it's kind of in my blood to use synthesizers and all that stuff. It's kind of my musical identity. So.
Right, exactly. So there'll always be a little bit of Tigerforest everywhere you go.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah. So we're winding down, and I have a couple other questions for you. Are you working on any new material right now? Or
I started about maybe a month ago. But it takes a little bit of time to write this stuff under my own name. I have to get back into that world of this kind of music. So it takes a little bit of time to get back into this mood. Mm-hmm. It's hard to describe. It's a big process. So, but since I'm basically locked in my studio and I cannot go anywhere else, maybe it's going to go a little bit easier this time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And are you always discovering new equipment and new software to use?
A little bit. I tried on this next record that I'm working on. I keep trying to focus more on the piano and maybe try to make the piano sound like it hasn't sounded before. Like maybe add some more effects to the piano or different reverbs. And I'm still trying to stick to the sounds that I was using in the previous record, but even focus more on the piano sound and make it sound different.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And we've talked about having you come out here to Milwaukee to do a performance.
That's
right. And I really want to make that happen.
Me too.
It would be a dream. Mm-hmm. So we're gonna we'll have to stay in touch and get that going for sure. Yeah. There's a couple really nice venues in Milwaukee that would work for you. So we're going to try to squeeze in one more song, and we've got Day in a Lifetime queued up. Mm-hmm. And what can you tell me about that one? It's beautiful.
It goes back to the story that I was talking about, watching stars collide.
Mm-hmm.
It's just me trying to live in the moment and enjoy the present and not regret what was in the past or hoping for a better tomorrow. Just enjoy the here and now. And that's the basic story of the track.
Uh-huh. Well, It's beautiful. And it's also, it has a little prayer-like feel to it as well. And of course the cello is genius in here.
Yeah.
So
that's right. Yeah.
Okay, so let's take a listen and we'll come back. This is Gunnar Spardell from Simplicity in a Complex World and a track called A Day in a Lifetime. Oh, I think I got to recue that one. Sorry. Here we go. Oh, no. All right, there we go. That's the music of Gunnar Spardell on WMSE from Simplicity in a Complex World in a track called A Day in a Lifetime. You're listening to 91.7 WMSE Milwaukee and Instrumental Saturdays. I'm Mary Bartlein, and my guest has been Gunnar Spardell. Gunnar, I think we could probably squeeze one more track in. Should we try?
Okay.
Yeah,
sure. Let's try.
Let's because it doesn't look like Jake's just came in, but we can. You've got a little 3-minute 53-second song called "Meet Me at Cafe de la Grave."
Yeah, that's right. Mm-hmm.
And
that song.
Go ahead.
Yes, there's a little story about that song. Really quick. There's a island chain in the Atlantic Ocean that belongs to the Canadian province of Quebec, and those islands are called the Magdalene Islands. And my wife is from Quebec, and it was always her dream to go visit those islands, even though they are really far away in the middle of nowhere. And we went to those islands, and they don't have a lot of restaurants or cafes. And we went to this one little cafe, and it was really bad weather outside, and we thought, oh, it's probably deserted. There's nobody in there. But inside that cafe, everybody was singing and dancing and having a great time, and people were reading poems and doing like improvisation theater, and it was just a really nice and warm atmosphere, even though outside it felt like the world is ending because of bad weather, and you're in the middle of the ocean and there's nothing around you.
Wow.
So it was kind of a little refuge, I guess, and it inspired me to write this track.
Oh, it's beautiful. Excellent. That is a great story. Okay, so let's take a listen to that. We'll probably have a chance to just come back and say goodbye. So
okay.
This is Meet Me at Cafe de la Grave.